White privilege is the concept that the economic, social, and political institutions in liberal democracies like America benefits whites while disadvantaging racial minorities. Somehow. The evidence, though, doesn't back up the claim no matter how often it's cried out by liberals. I'm Fayza from The Rebel, and let me explain to you why white privilege is bullshit. Here's a fact. Whites as a racial group do not have the highest household median income in America. Asians do. According to the Institute on Assets and Social Policy, Asian American median household income is $57,000 per year. White Americans, on the other hand, have a household median income of $48,000 per year. If we break this down by ethnicity, you really start to see the wealth gaps. Japanese American households make $70,000 a year, while French American households make $63,000 a year. Iranian American households make $66,000 a year, while Dutch American households make $59,000 a year. In fact, the three ethnic groups that, on average, make the most household income in America by descending order are Indian Americans, Filipino Americans, and Taiwanese Americans. How can the notion of white privilege exist when non-white racial groups make more money than whites? In purely economic terms, Asian privilege makes more sense as a concept than white privilege, but you're never going to hear liberals complain about Asian privilege. That'd be racist. Liberals do complain about the disparity between the average black household versus white household. They claim that because blacks on average make less household income and less money than whites in general, that's a sign that our economic systems have fallen and we're living in a racist society. Ooh, boogeyman, the economic system is against you. Despite their claim, though, certain black ethnicities like Nigerians and Ghanaians are well off. Nigerian household income is $61,000 per year. Ghanaian household income is $57,000 per year. How can liberals argue that we live in a society that economically disenfranchises blacks when Nigerian Americans have a higher household income than Dutch Americans and French Americans, and Ghanaian Americans have a higher household income than Albanian Americans, for instance? The question that any honest intellectual should ask themselves is, why do these particular black ethnicities have a much higher household income than other black ethnicities and even higher income than other white ethnicities? And this is when you start to see the logic of white privilege fall apart as a concept. We're supposed to believe that there's this racist economic system out there oppressing minorities, when in reality, the economic problems minorities face in our society are almost entirely caused by their own actions or lack thereof. It's almost entirely caused by the negative aspects of culture. The National Center for Policy Analysis came up with challenging but doable steps in escaping poverty in America. In fact, they simply titled their findings of their study, "How Not to Be Poor." There are two steps in particular that a person or group of people should do in order to not be poor. Number one, stay in school. Graduating high school, a technical school, college, or university dramatically increases your chances to not be poor. Of those people who complete some form of college, only 6.6% fall below the poverty line. Blacks, on average, have a dropout rate of 31%. Whites, on the other hand, have a dropout rate of 14%. Is it any surprise, then, that whites have a higher income? They do drop out of school less often, after all. Meanwhile, 17% of all Nigerian Americans have master's degrees. Is it any surprise, then, that Nigerian Americans are so economically successful while other black ethnicities are not? Nope. It's just simple reality. If you graduate from school, obtain degrees, you'll probably have a higher income. That's why Nigerian Americans have more household income than other black ethnicities. And two, prepare to be a parent as much as you can if you're going to be a parent. This is simple at face value, but sadly many people, particularly black Americans, give birth to children out of wedlock, most of the time fatherless, sometimes to mothers who are teenagers. 72% of black households are headed by a single mother. In contrast, only 25% of white households are headed by a single mother. Asians, 17%. If 83% of Asian households have two sources of income, is it any surprise then that Asian households have significantly higher household income than black households? Black households are usually headed by a single mom, one income. Therefore, they're going to be poorer on average. No one, not even the white man, is forcing these children to be fatherless. Out of wedlock birth and fatherlessness is completely their fault. And the mindset of abandoning your girlfriend comes from their culture and lifestyle, and it contributes to their continuing poverty. In conclusion, white privilege as a concept does not make any sense economically speaking, because Asians and certain African ethnicities have a higher income than whites. In addition, a lot of the reasons why certain ethnicities have less income, household or otherwise, is of their own doing. Keep that in mind the next time someone, a liberal, brings up white privilege. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to Rebel.media.